Hi everyone, welcome to Module 2 for the sheep and beef. So this is basically just for dry stock. So we'll be working through our working plan and our reports in this one. So you can see here, I'm sitting on our landing page of our plan. So it's called our timeline. So to get there, I've just clicked straight into plan. If I decollapse, I can, instead of going into cash flow or livestock, I've just clicked straight into my plan. So we can see here on the left-hand side, I've got my actuals from last year. And then in the middle, I've got my current budget with my revision line. And then after that, I've got my budget for next financial year. So underneath my actuals there, I've got my baseline. So that's just a read-only, basically a screenshot of their actuals. And then I've got my draft plans down there. Now, if you have just recently switched over from Cash Manager Rural, if you have come from Cash Manager Rural, your budget won't be sitting up here in the working plan. It will be sitting down here as a draft plan. So all we need to do is click the three little dots and click Set as Working Plan. We can create, if I click the three little dots, I can duplicate as a draft. So this gives us, basically, it's just scenarios of if I'm going to buy a new farm or if I'm thinking about buying some more stock. I can budget by just going into there, and I can budget that without actually changing my main budget currently, because I don't want to change it, but I want to see if so scenario, if I could make that work financially. So I can click into my main working plan here. And then we can see right up to date, I have all my actuals up to date. After that, I have all my budgeted items. Now I can use, just up here is our revision button. So I click on there, I can set my revision date right to the beginning of my financial year, and I can see all my planned figures. And then I can do month by month. I can see exactly how I'm sitting through the year. I'll set it back to December. Now we've got these little chevrons, so I can expand or de-expand as much as I want just by clicking these, and then clicking that will put out all my extended codes. But if I don't want to see all that, I can just come along and use my little down arrows next to each of my stock and throughout the whole budget. So if I want to compare my data against budget versus actuals, I'm going to set my revision date right back to June, which is my beginning of my financial year. I'm going to click on the little lock, which is going to do that screenshot or just read-only baseline plan. So I'm going to click. Are you sure you want to set this as your baseline? Yes, confirm. And that's going to go, you'll just see a little box pop up here to say that I've created that baseline plan. So I can click into there, and we can see I can't edit this plan. I can view it, but I can't edit it. So go back out of there. We can see it's popped up down here now. I can click there, and now I'm going to click set my revision date back to my month that I'm wanting it to. Go up to my little compare data button up here, which is a little mirror. Click on that, and I'm going to select plan this year and set from my base. I want to compare it to my baseline because I know that is a screenshot of my current plan, and apply. So we've got actuals along the top and budgeted items along the bottom. And then, of course, these are going to be the same because they're both budgeted items. So if we just look here of how we're sitting over here of my budget versus actuals. If I want to compare last year's plan, last year's actuals, I can go actuals and select last year's actuals and apply that. So I can see exactly how I'm tracking from last financial year, and we can see that's now applied. And I can scroll down and I can see everything here. If I want to copy line 2, or I've got my 2057 here that I want that to be, that was last year, and I've decided I want that up there now. I can click on my little square, copy line 2, apply, and that's going to copy line 2. Perfect. So you can see it's taken a full copy of what line 2 is. If I want to add in something, so I'll just remove my comparison because I don't need to see that now. I can click, say if I want to enter in, let's click into wages, and my PAYE deducted, I can either go ahead and put in a figure here and enter, and you can see I've just popped in 2,000. I can copy that for the next how many months, so every month for the next 5 months, I can apply that, and it's gone and spread 2,000 along each month. If I want to add in, I can go into animal health. If I need to buy some cattle drench, I can go 500, but I want to spread that over the next few months, but I'm going to go for the next 3 months and I'm going to spread that, and it's just going to spread that over the next few months. If I want to add something properly into, instead of just typing it, so it's really easy to just go ahead and type it. If I want to really get down into the worksheet, I click add, and it's brought me up to the worksheet. So it's going to be, I'm going to buy 1 drum of dip for $6.50, and then it's going to put into the amount. I can add my enterprise tag if I want to. So if you're unaware what an enterprise or management tag is, it's just if you've got an enterprise, we are now calling the management tags. You can go ahead and apply that, so it just applies it to my finishing block because that's where I'm going to do my dipping, and I'm going to add. Now we can see my planned items and my past planned items, which is October, December, and we can see that I've got my 650 planned there. Once again, if I want to spread that or copy it, I can click spread for the next 2 months and apply, and it'll break it out along here. Up here we've got all of our little emblems, so we've got a printer, so we can print or download PDF, and this is just of your worksheet, of your full budget grid. As I mentioned, we've got the compare data button. We have filtering, so if we want to just see my finishing lease block, everything that I've put to that, I can apply my management tag, and I can see everything that of my actuals and my planned items that I've put in for my management tag. I can clear all again and apply, and that'll just take it back to the original. I can click my little eye, I can show financial year items. So if I show financial year items, you'll see my future year, if I've got anything planned. So this one here we can see from previous financial year. So if they're flagged in blue, they have come from last financial year, but they've been paid. If I go forward to my next financial year, we can see this belongs in last year's financial year. So we can use these little arrows to just go through our financial years as we go. Click on my little eye and I can show my quantity, stock units, monthly balances, stock on hand, remaining budget. I can have as many as I want selected. And my little settings cog, I can click on my settings cog. I can have my plan name, my plan description. I recommend having a description, and this just holds throughout the system. Usually if it gets upgraded to a main budget, it'll have the 2021 working plan, and that will be what it will be changed to, whereas the description will stay. So if you've got anything like you want to pop in the date that it was made and the reasoning behind it, you can go ahead and change that. Now, if you have recently switched over from Cash Manager Rule and your livestock numbers aren't very tidy, we can come into our plan settings and into livestock, click on the little arrows, I should say, and we can enter in any figures that we want to. So these are my closing balances, so I can't edit my closing balances, but I can edit my opening balances if I want to. So I can scroll down, and for my U-Hoggets, I had 1,100 in my closing, but I've actually had a look and I've got 1,250, and I'm going to save that. and that's going to update my opening balance. If I go into the livestock screen, click on livestock, we can see that 1250 has got a little flag on it. This just means that we have adjusted it from last year's closing balance. So if we've adjusted it, it will have a little orange flag against it within the livestock grid. If I want to, I can expand out my livestock. We can see that any deaths or missing. So I can add in a non-financial event within the cash flow grid. So if I want to, that autumn trade lambs, I've gone and done. I've killed one just for the house meat, so we can add one, quantity one, and we could go house meat and save. We can see that that's going to pop up in September. We can go through for all of these, we can expand them out if we need to. In all of these, we can add in we've got our breeding percentages of how everything is. So we've got our stock codes and what was born and how many we've got on. So it brings up our breeding percentage. You can see once we're in here, our stock aging up. So see here we've got our ewe hoggets. My closing ewe hoggets was 1191. My opening balance is 1191 in my turus. And then you can see my turus have then aged up to mixed age ewes. We do age up within the at the end of the financial year. You can go ahead and age them up manually. We do recommend just having them age up automatically. It just makes things a little bit tidier, but that is entirely up to you. So I can see I've got my total stock units. I can drop down and I can see my sheep and beef stock units. And these are all just on this view. So I can take away my stock units and my monthly balances, and we can see that it's just going to show them there now. Okay, perfect. So that's basically everything within the livestock working plan. Do bear in mind everything that is in the working plan is GST exclusive instead of inclusive. So do bear in mind, if I do scroll down to the bottom, we can see my GST components down here and how everything's going. If I do want to take out anything though, we can just click on it and remove it as well and enter, and that's just going to remove that line that I've taken out. Perfect. So I will go into reports now. So in reports, we have all little tiles basically have a quick overview of what each report does. So I'll start with the ABC, analysis by code. This is probably one of our best reports we've got. So I click into there. I can select my year. So I've got my year selected, my date range, and my payment or financial view. So I'm going to select payment view and apply. Now, at the moment, I have it set on accountant code, so we can see that because I've got a none next to these. So this means the accountant hasn't come in and mapped my codes. So I'll click up here where it says accountant codes, change to farm. I want to see my cents in ABC. I can add as much or as less as I want to here, but I'm going to apply that. And we can see now it's just changed to farm code, so I can see my farm codes there. Once again, the printer, I can print it. I can export to a CSV file as well if I need to. I click my little eye, as I said before. This is the same as just clicking on farm codes. I can filter, so I can just select, if I just want to see my sheep income, I can see just all my sheep income there. And if I expand it out, I can see all those transactions there, etc. So you can have as less or as much selected as you want. I can select all again and apply. If I just want to see, say, my income, I'll just select income, and that's only showing my income for that financial year. I can filter by bank accounts if I've got different bank accounts, so I can go ahead and just select which one I want to, and same as tags. If I just want to see my income for my finished lease block, I'll see my income just sitting there. And if I click on the settings cog, that just takes me back to that main panel that pops up when you first come into this report. Cool. And then we've got the Cashflow Detail report. This is basically like a list, a view of your budget. So I can come in here, I can actuals plus plan, actuals or plan year, my revision date or my revision month, I should say, and also my date range and whether or not it's payment or financial view. So I will apply. So we can see here, it's actually kept the income and that tag that I had set up in the ABC. So I can just remove that and it's going to set it right back. Once again, we can print it. I can click my little eye and we can change this between GST exclusive or inclusive. I can go ahead and I can add as many columns as I want to or as less as I want to. And I've got my cents. And so we can go through and we can see all here, use my little arrows again and drop down and see those actual transactions. I can also filter by any of my codes that I want to, filter by bank accounts, and filter by my management tag. Click settings cog again and it just brings me back to the same panel that opens up when you first come into this report. Cash flow summary, that is just a printable version of what your budget is sitting at currently. Your EFS report, so exactly what says, track the profitability of your own farm business with key performance and including earnings before interest, tax and rent. So this is a really, really good report, especially if everything's set up perfectly. It is really, really good. So I got my actuals plus plan, but I'm just going to go my actuals this year and my meat and fibre and apply it. Perfect. So we can see my opening stock units, my closing stock units, my percentage change, my deaths and missing, and my breeding percentages. We can scroll down and we can see our stock units per dollar, kg per milk solids. Now, I'm a sheep and beef farmer. I don't want to see this, so I'll come up to the eye and I'll take away milking animal and kg per milk solids and apply, and it's disappeared. So don't you worry about that because I'm not milking any of my my dry stock. So we can see my hectares per dollar. This is really good. So we can come down here and we can see the overall total of how much money I'm making per hectare, etc. And we can drop down and see exactly where we're making money out of or spending money within here. Just by clicking down, and we can see these codes where we're making the most money. And you can add your adjustments, so your stock adjustments. As I said, we haven't got any milking animals. Other adjustments, you can go ahead and pop them in here. And if we need to, I can change my hectares and I can go 150 of my hectares is for my lease block. So I'm going to put my finishing lease block and it's just going to flow through exactly everything for that lease block. So I can really get down and see what my opening stock units were for that lease block and my closing stock units. As you can see, we had quite the percentage change there. And we can scroll down and have a look. If I want to, I just click on the little X to just clear out all of that there. Then we have profit and loss. It is exactly what it says, a view of summary of total revenue minus the expense and adjustments for the financial year. Tax invoice summary, that is just like an age debtors report. If you're doing tax invoices, we can see if we're, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, up to 90 days, how overdue these invoices are. Trends report, this just gives you, you can see up to 5 years at a time. If you come over to Cash Manager, this is where you'll see most of your historical data. Variance and year-to-date variances, as they say, validate your plan and identify differences between planned and actual spending compared to scenarios, as it says there. Your GST return, so if you have done Module 1, you'll come into the GST return to file your GST. Usually everything that's already been filed will say final. And then the blue one should be what you're up to go ahead and finalize. You'll click into it. You've got the printer, so we can go ahead and print off just the GST return or the GST encoded lines. I can scroll down and I can click coded lines. Now most all reports, etc., if they've got these headers, you should be able to click them and they will sort by those headers. So I find that really, really helpful, especially if I want to sort by my code or my type, my GST component type, so I can go through and I can see exactly where everything's coded to. If I want to go ahead and code that now, I can just click on my little drop down arrow, say final and file with IR, which will finalize it and send it straight to Inland Revenue to file with the GST return. Livestock Recs, so I'm sure everyone's the same. Livestock Recs, everyone's worst nightmare. I must admit, Farm Focus has made it a lot more simpler. So I can come in here, because I've been just using my actuals up to date, I've got my actuals, it's automatically set that, my year, and I'm going to apply that. Awesome. So we can see my opening and my closing. So I had, for my autumn trade lambs, I had 2573 opening. I purchased another 350, sold 2,886, killed one, deaths and missing, year end, and next year's opening balance. So you can see exactly where everything goes. I find it really simple to read. It's got all the key components, what you're looking for, and then you can see your total stock units at the bottom here. We want to print it again. We can go ahead. We can adjust that. If I just want to see my sheep, I can just see my sheep, or if I just want to see my cattle, I can just see my cattle. If I just want to see my finishing lease block, I can apply that and I can see everything. So I just have my autumn trade lambs running on my lease block. And I can just clear all and reset, and it'll reset it back. If I select the settings cog, once again, just brings up that panel that pops up as soon as you come into this report. Livestock summary report, that's just the same as the cash flow summary report. It just brings up the printable version of your stock month by month stock rec. The livestock trading, like it says, track and measure physical production per effective hectare in each stock class. Click into there, it's pulled the same information as I've been looking, and we can see all of our little bits of information, and we can drop down all our little chevrons again if we need to. We can scroll to the bottom and you'll have your total farm production per hectare down here as well. So all of these little, especially livestock reports, are really handy to go through and have a look. We can do our adjustments per hectare again. So if I want to put that back to what it was, it'll recalculate it to what it was. And if I want to have my finishing lease block tag against it or not, and my settings once again. Okay, perfect. So if this isn't quite correct, it'll just be a matter of going into your code setup and seeing what your yields are set up, because this is what it flows through into here. Once again, down the bottom here, we've got accountants annual report, which is mainly for your accountants. You can go ahead and take a look. We've got financial payment view, financial year. I can set a custom date range if I want to, and the year. The none, once again, just means that the accountant hasn't mapped those certain codes. I've got all of our sections. I can display all sections, but it is a lot of pages. So I've just got section 1. But like I said, it's mainly just for your accountants, that one. And the same with the export to general ledger, that's just for your accountants, and they do all that side of things. So that's pretty much a rundown of Module 2. If there is anything that you are wanting a little bit more information about, please head over here into, just click here and either click into help, which takes you to our article. Otherwise, you can just click onto our chat bubble. So if you do need to get in touch with us and the phone lines are a bit busy, just come into here and just click send us a message, and we can talk straight to you and give you the right answer. Also, if I want to, I'm in my ABC report. So I'm just going to type in ABC, and it's brought up analyst by code. So while I'm in my ABC report, I can have the article just sitting up here of exactly explaining it all. So all of our reports will have their own help article attached. If this is as this is, it's a lot of information. So if there is any little bits you need to just go check on, just go into the help centre, otherwise give us a call. So that is the end of our sheep and beef module 2. I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.